Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Best day of the week.
I know. Go. I feel like I've missed you guys. I mean, I only missed 1 week, but I feel like I haven't seen you guys in so long.
I know. We missed you too.
Listen, I knocked out 2 or 3 weddings back-to-back weekends. So that was great. But also 2 weddings back-to-back. It's like, I got back and I was like, I am so tired.
For our loyalist listeners, they'll know that you are the queen of weddings. You are the queen of weddings. I've never met anyone who goes to more weddings than Brandy.
I know. That's where all of my money has gone. Also, unofficial shout out. If you going to these weddings or whatever, Z-biotics are these like things you take before you drink. And I didn't really think anything of it before. And then both weekends like saved my life. So highly recommend. They're not cheap, but like get a whole bunch if you have any sort of, festive commitments in your future.
This is not a paid sponsorship.
Not a paid sponsor. Would happily take their sponsorship dollars, but I have been like evangelizing Z-biotics.
Also, only really works if you're over 29, 30.
Yes. Oh, it's a really peak 30s tool and into your 60s. My parents also really loved them.
Lovely. Well, glad you handled your weekend well with the back-to-back wedding festivities. Golden, holy crap, for the first time ever, we are seeing you in a new location. Same old is out the door. It's no longer the same old with you in it. How are we doing? That is not true.
Well, we've done a podcast from a castle in Scotland before, so we've done different locations. But yes, it's rare these days. On the road this week, but can't miss the show. I traveled with my microphone like Brandy. It's a weird thing.
It is. You gotta have your little box, and it just comes with you.
TSA is like, what do you got in that bag, dog? That's cool. Glad that. Or where are you at? Where are you located today? Where are you broadcasting from?
The desert of Phoenix, Arizona.
All right. Nice. All right. So on the road, we got Golden on the road. Finally. Trying
to be a man of the people,
I love it. I love it.
Oh my God.
Paul says Brandy goes. Go ahead, Brandy.
Brandy goes to more weddings in a month than I have in the last 5 years. And that is the damn truth, Paul. Like, it is crazy. Someday they'll end, or it'll just be the second round of weddings. I don't know.
100%. Well, I love that. I love that you guys both had great weekends. I also had a great weekend. For the guys out there that are in their 30s or getting into their 30s, you should do this more often. I did this. Friday, I went through my whole closet, all of my storage, all of my stuff, and I donated 4 bins of clothes that I don't wear. I've never worn over the last 3 to 4 years. So many clothes donated, gone out of the way. And then I went to the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, which is a racing weekend where I got to watch 73 race car drivers climb 12.4 miles on 156 turns in over 14,000 feet of elevation gain. And it was incredible. Man, oh man, did I have a good time. And then
you just become such a little car nerd.
Oh no, I can't tell you anything about makes. Yeah. Wait, what kind of airhead we're talking about here? Gearhead. Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear. No, I don't know anything about actual cars, makes, and models. Like I know a little bit just to like get by, but there's people that are like, oh, that was a CWRX, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know what the heck that was. That thing just went really fast and it was really cool. Anyways, I love the business of motorsports. It was a fun weekend and a beautiful, beautiful time in the Colorado mountains. Shout out to David Kraus from Rent Responsibly, who is tuning into the live. And of course, obviously, our main man, Paul. We'd love seeing you on the live. If you're on the live today, let us know where you're tuning in from. Michael's in Arizona, Brandy's in Miami, and I'm in Denver, Colorado. So let us know your amazing places. And we are back with an amazing week of content and articles to discuss. Guys, again, pretty news light, but I do want to say before we jump into the actual topics of today, we kind of missed a story last week. You remember that story that we missed? It was Nia Homes being acquired, it was Nia Homes being acquired by Costco. So pretty interesting story that just kind of snuck right under the radar with everybody. But what was your guys' thoughts in those terms of Nia Homes being acquired? I think it's over 400 homes throughout Mexico.
I guess I kind of just was like, damn, Costco is on this like 30,000 plus homes. Well, it's not enough needed. But I think it also, just keeps speaking to this trend of, acquisitions and mergers and all of that. It just follows along with those trends. So, man, good luck to the people over at Costco that is just like drinking out of a city's worth of fire hoses at this point.
Yeah,
100%.
What better group to acquire? Costco has a very significant Mexican footprint, and so it rolls in naturally. Seems like a logical fit, and without knowing the unit economics of the deal, I'm kind of surprised Costco would go be acquisitive at this stage, given everything that's going on. So my guess is they got it for a really good price. But yeah, strengthening the footprint even further. I love it.
Well, Costco originally having such a stronghold in Mexico already in the beginning of its history to expand with this acquisition makes total sense. But I was thinking when I saw this and I sent it to our group chat with Jamie Lane saying like, how did we miss this story last week when he was on? But it's just incredible to say like, okay, we were talking about the whole acquisition of Acasa. During this, Steve is also probably planning this acquisition of Nia Homes. So it's like, how can one man and team group do all this? It's insane. There's so much that goes into it. And so the fact that they got that done shortly after the acquisition of Acasa is just bananas. So shout out to the team over there. We want to give you guys your giving you guys your flowers, your roses. Is that what it's called? Is that the term?
Flowers, I think.
Yeah, giving you flowers. All right. But now on today's actual topics, since we missed that one last week, it's quite an interesting one where we're going into a lot of the personalization area, but also the shift of the customer data and who owns it truly, and kind of the conversation that's still ongoing with that. So I would love Brandy. Let's kick it off.
Yeah. So I saw this and this article in Skift about these luxury dinners, the dinner party that's coming back at these luxury hotels. And for people who don't know, pre-COVID, I ran an underground supper club in Miami, and so this really speaks to what
Brandy wine,
the brandy wine experiments. Yeah, R.I.P. But I loved this because this is something I love doing, these super intimate dinners, 12, 20 people, something like that, and at these luxury hotels, it's another service or, amenity that they can offer that gets their guests, talking, that provides this really unique experience for the guests. And it's for people these are the big spenders. And I think, with the conversation later, when we kind of talk about the other side of efficiencies and getting rid of people, you see these bigger hotel groups, the Rosewood Resorts Collection is mentioned, they're this is not probably making them any money, at least not right now. The overhead for these kinds of dinners, especially at these locations, is pretty crazy, but they want to provide this when you have these luxury guests who are always looking for something more and extra, like what is the next thing that you can provide them? And I think that these dinners are in the zeitgeist now. Like everybody loves kind of like the foodie culture, even though I cannot stand that term. But like it's something that people really think as higher class, as luxury, as unique, because each dinner obviously is going to be something different, right? You're never going to have exactly the same experience twice. And so I think in this article, they talk about wanting to have those kinds of experiences with their guests, where when you're at dinner, you're talking about like, did you do the skeet shooting or the fly fishing or the whatever other crazy bougie activity they had going on? And it gets people connected in a way that I think, whether you're super rich or you're just a normal person, we've all been kind of missing that level of connectedness. And so this is bringing it to these kind of higher end locations. And I do also think, before anyone would hop on like, oh, this is only for super rich people, like it kind of is. Like it really it's expensive. Your Holiday Inn is not going to have this kind of option, because it would be, in order for them to even put it on, they'd either have to like take a huge loss to make it affordable for their clientele, or it would just be so unaffordable. Someone would be like, why is this dinner happening at this hotel? So 100%. That's my soapbox.
Brandy rant of the day. No, I agree with you. I just love that we're now focusing, and I also want to give Skipped a shout out because their new experiences tab, they're like tracking this experience movement. I guess it's shifting in the space, which is great because it's something that I'm excited to see, because it's really bringing us back to our roots of hospitality. Over the last 5 to 7 years, I would say it's been so tech, so capital focused, and so growth acquisition focused that or maybe not acquisition, but just growth in general, focus in the industry, from growing your inventory, growing your brand, growing this, doing that we've really like hear people talk about the guest experience. It's kind of like that. You have to mention it. It's like, oh yeah, the guest experience is also like obviously why we do this and like why we love our thing. But at the end of the day, the experience, truly like having a great or smooth check-in experience, is no longer a good experience for people. That's the expected outcome no matter what. So creating experiences with dinner series, maybe a cool coffee experience in the morning, or like what we were talking about a while ago with like the eco-friendly thing, is like you can get little jars of honey if you have beehives, or if you have a garden that's like more sustainable for your kitchen and your staff and your restaurant or whatever. Like there's all these cool experiences you can do without having to pull out the big stops and the big bucks for the high net worth income stories that you're reading on the article here. But yeah, I'm glad it's coming back. I'm glad this is a focus. I think it needs more of
bringing hospitality back to hospitality. Yeah, I mean, you can compete on experiences like this, bespoke, one of a kind events that you organize or that are happening in your city. Or, I mean, let's be honest, you can also compete on limited service and budget and price.
Yeah.
And we see that from, Citizen M, for example. You check in, there is no check-in desk. There's a bar. You go to your room that's about as big as my wingspan. And that's all you need if you're a budget traveler, right? If you don't want to stay in a hostel and you don't want to stay in a Rosewood, then there are other options as well. And I think, we often get hung up on delivering hospitality, but sometimes all people need in the budget category is a bed to sleep in, and they're getting in at 10 p.m. and they're leaving at 6 a.m. And that's providing a great service for those folks as well.
Yeah, I think, and this is where you see these two sides diverging, right? You're getting the more and more luxe and the more and more personalized, and then you're getting more and more budget. And when I saw this article, I immediately had this I just had like a visceral reaction, because when we several years ago started doing virtual concierge, a lot of our properties, there's some realities of our business model. We cannot afford to have 24/7 front desk at most of our buildings. But if you want to give that experience, how can you do that? We can have a virtual concierge who can be at a couple buildings at the same time and still offer the majority of those same services. And when we get still to this day, but mostly in the beginning, guests that were coming from traditional hotel OTAs like Expedia or Booking.com, and they might not have realized what kind of, building they were booking. Some people, the younger people loved it, but then the older crowd wasn't as into it. And now when I see other hotels doing it, I'm like, oh, we got so much flack for this in the beginning.
Yeah. And for the listeners and live viewers, if you're wondering how we went from dinner experiences to the virtual concierge, so Citizen M in the article from Skift calls out killing the front desk. This was a conversation on stage at the Data and AI Summit by Skift. And so obviously Brandy was ahead of the curve in the short-term rental industry going into this, obviously, like really big push. I think that has been needed for a long time. But Citizen M, when they started as a brand, they started intentionally as a no front desk brand. They were actually one of the first hotels to put iPads or tablets in the rooms for you to control your shades, your AC, all the things. So really cool experience. And now Marriott, as they have acquired the brand, not the assets, big differentiator there. They've acquired the brand. And when the CEO of Citizen M was talking about how Marriott really wants to embrace that, because I think they're seeing more and more of that across their portfolio in general. They want better experiences. They want better ways for their guests to actually experience their property again and not have to worry about the key card demagnifying before you get to your room, having to wait in a queue before you get your keys in general after a long day of travel. Like, they are looking at this brand as a, hey, like, why didn't we do this sooner? I think. So it's a really good shift. I think it's the shift that we're all going to start seeing. I always kind of pointed out on this show and on Slick Talk, just like the Verizon wireless experience, right? When you walk into the Verizon wireless store to upgrade your phone or do whatever on your plan, you don't go to a desk. You just get someone that approaches you with an iPad in their hand, ready to take care of you. And that's a better experience. So I think it's good.
I think that almost has to be the direction of hotels in the future. It's obviously the direction of short-term rentals. There's no other way to do it. But it has to be the direction of hotels, unless you're playing in the ultra premium and you can have someone in a fancy suit asking you or already really knowing where you're coming from, how long you're staying for, who you are, the purpose of your visit. Those are things that you can afford to do at a premium rate. But the rest of the market competing for the mass market traveler, it's got to go the direction of Citizen M and the direction that sounds like Marriott's starting to take their larger brand portfolio.
I think the part of from the consumer side, right? You're paying more per square foot, right? For being a hotel, because you're getting some sort of usually like F&B component. You're getting the service component of being in a hotel. Like when we had Madeline on, there was the things that people love about a hotel is more of that service. So if you start taking away the service, but then you're keeping the price the same or you're increasing your prices, it's like, what are you paying for? And I think I don't really have like a further comment on that, but it is like, okay, what is like the whole hotel model seems like it's shifting, and it's like, what is the value prop if a short-term rental, if you could stay in an apart hotel, limited service, and get a kitchen and a living room and all of this for a cheaper price than if you're staying at a hotel, which now also has no service but no kitchen. So I think it's an interesting kind of a conundrum for the hotel industry, and we'll see how the consumer reacts to that once it starts rolling out in a more meaningful way.
100%. And just from this conversation, the Citizen M and Rafit from Skiff when they're on stage, it was a really good conversation because I think when the original beginning of the brand started, it was all about the lobby experience, the food and beverage, the pool, the less of the room. Like, yes, the room experience was still good. You had an iPad or a tablet that would control everything. It was smaller square footage, but better designed for that square footage, etc. And so taking away is great, because in this article it's talking about like taking away of looking at taking away the front desk because front desk workers are overwhelmed with the amount of requests, work, and workflows that are just chaotic, right? So that obviously makes sense, but taking away with no addition, right? Like, so take away the overwhelming work, but what are you offering in advance to your guests outside of the outcome of removing that overwhelming work, which is an easier check-in experience? So it's like, okay, yes, I get an easier check-in experience, but am I going to get more personalization? Am I going to get a drink in my hand at check-in? Am I going to, like, what is the replacement value outside of a smoother, efficient operation on your end? Because the guest at the end of the day, they're not running a hotel. They're not running a short-term rental. They don't give a shit. They just want to get their stuff and have their experience be good. So I think when you're taking away stuff, like you were saying, yeah, you gotta add something publicly for the guest.
Well, I would argue they haven't taken it away. They've just reimagined it, right? The last thing I want to do when I go to a hotel is to go stand in line, tell them my name. They ask me 10 questions, and then they hand me a key and tell me the room. That can all just be delivered to my phone right before I show up. And then if I do have questions, then I can go to the bar. Like, we're not saying that they got rid of F&B. Citizen M has F&B. I could go up if I had questions. If I didn't understand my room instructions or receive it or wanted to change room, you can go talk to somebody. But I think the whole check-in desk is antiquated unless you're delivering a significantly above average experience. Like we experienced at the Auburn Hotel, where they already knew who it is, how many people, when you're arriving, where you're arriving from, why you're there,
what you look like.
They recognize you before you even tell them your name. Like, those are the little details that do jump out and are memorable for guests visiting places. But your average airport Holiday Inn can't do that. So I'd rather just get my room info after a long flight and go straight to my room, or go grab a beer at the bar and then go straight to the room. Like, I think it's a bit of reimagining, and yes, it is more cost efficient to have it that way. And will a lot of the front desk operations that took a bunch of time 10 years ago, a lot of those are automated now. And
you'd be surprised.
I'm like chomping at the bit I totally forgot to mention this in the beginning. I had the most maddening check-in experience, and I'm not going to say where it was, but it was a Holiday Inn and for this wedding. And I was checking in. We had like a couple rooms with like my family, and the check-in experience was so crazy. I was sitting there and I'm just
Did you hop behind the desk and check yourself in and just like, let me
it's like my mom booked everything. I'm not going to be like, let me handle this. But I'm just like listening. There's like 2 or 3 people at the front desk trying to figure out this whole thing. It's like, because we have different cars. Are they with the right room? Do you just print out this piece of paper and sign that? And then, you have people coming later. We need to make sure we have all of their information to give them these keys, even though you already gave it to us when you booked the room. The check-in process took almost 20 minutes. And I was sitting back there just like literally like having a conniption, because I was like, this is crazy. There is nothing hard about what is happening right now. I was like, this is my own special hell. I can't. And
I will.
Yeah,
we're the bane of our own existence, in the same of, I think sometimes we've made our industry harder than it needs to be. 100%. Technology vendors alike, operators alike. I've seen that same thing where you're like, this is it. Give me a key. I gave you my credit card. I paid online. Like, what is going on? So
is my room clean? Can I get in it? Is it easy to get into? Do I need to talk to anybody? Like,
exactly.
Should I be fearful for my life? Like, what's going on?
If you've traveled a long way and you're tired, just tell me what room I'm in. And do you want 1 key or 2? I don't want a key. Just let me use my phone number as my door code. And it's easy.
For our viewers, listeners, how do you like to be checked in? I want to know. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear the nightmares out there.
Honestly, unless it's coming with a glass of champagne or a cocktail, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. 100%. All right. Well, this one was another interesting one from the Data and AI Summit at New York with Skift. And so I love this opening line before I show the article. This opening kind of like tagline: there's been a battle between online travel companies and hotels for decades, not just hotels and short-term rentals. There will be no truce in the age of AI, and how AI is changing who owns the customer as it is evolving. So this was a really fun conversation, again, to hear on stage. Adam Harris, CEO and co-founder of Cloudbeds, along with some other panelists, were on there to discuss who really truly owns the customer, right? And look, I'm not going to lie. As an operator, there's definitely been times where I'm like, F all the OTAs. They don't deserve any of my business. They don't deserve any of the promotion or whatever I've done for them to like tell people that I love partnering with these channels and blah, blah, blah. But then also there was points during this conversation where I was like, dang, I kind of understand where the OTAs are coming from. When you're spending $16 billion on marketing, I would kind of want to own that traveler too. So what do you guys think from this article? Michael, let's start with you since we started with Brandy first on the last one. I want to see your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I'll float back to some chats I've had with some OTAs directly. It is that they own the customer as long as that guest isn't going back to that same property. And if they are, then it's on you to own the customer. So if I'm traveling to Scottsdale this week and to Florida next week and to New York the next week, the OTA owns me. But if I'm going to the same beach house that I've gone every year and the OTA was the one that got me there in the first place, it's that management company's fault or that homeowner's fault for me not booking directly with them the next time. So I think in that case, everybody really wins. If you deliver a good experience, then now you can own the customer. If you don't, or that customer isn't going to be a repeat guest for you anyway, which is the vast majority of the time, it's not necessarily the case in business travel, but in leisure, very rarely are you going and staying at the exact same property over and over again. And there's very few national or global brands that you can book at repeatedly. And so I'll ride the fence on this one, but I think in my mind, it's very clear. The OTA's job is to get them there the first time. If you go there a second time, it's on you.
Can I ask you though a question? Let's say I have a guest, and this has actually happened as a front office manager that I once was. Guest books on Expedia. They check in. They have a great experience. They leave us a 5-star review. They made friends with one of the front desk staff, maybe the breakfast clerk, etc. Like great overall, 10 out of 10. They come back maybe 6 months, a year later. They booked again on Expedia. I tell them, hey, you can just book with us directly. You get 20% off, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but even though your website's nice and it's pretty and it's like easy, Expedia is easier to book on. I get this and I get that and I get that. You can't compete. So like, what do you do when the guest is trained by the OTA once they get their foot in the door the first time?
You hope that in the checkout line, they see the person that checks in ahead of them getting a room upgrade and getting this, that, and the other for the perks of booking directly. And it's like, hey, sorry, I can't do that because you booked on Expedia. That's happened. That's happened to me. A lot of
betting on hope. You're betting on hope, Michael. You're betting on hope.
Well, that's just kind of I think that's all part of the point is like some people don't really care necessarily about, they might not care about upgrades or like what you get with, like, they don't want to sign up for like another thing, And so they're like, okay, you know what? On Expedia, I have this account. I can see all the places I've been. My credit card has a deal with Expedia, like whatever. And yeah, maybe I go to a Hilton twice a year, or Marriott once a year, but like, I'm not going to build up enough loyalty points to get, and like, how many, do you need like 1 million loyalty points now to get an upgrade? I think also like that side of it is becoming more public and is eroding like what you actually get. And I had this. I had a gift card to a spa in Miami that's at a Marriott Turnberry property, and they immediately were like signed me up automatically to be a bond. I thought I was a Bonvoy member, but immediately signed me up, and they're like, "You get 500 extra points," and I was like, "What? Like how? What does that get me? Like,
That's
like,
5 cents.
are you gonna spray some free water in my mouth? You know, like so
Spray free water. That's hilarious. I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
But kind of like with in the article, it's talking about how, you know, AI is scanning the internet, is reading the internet to figure out what best to serve how best to answer the query, basically. And in this sense, is the language model just reading Expedia? Like or are they going through the, you know, almost infinite number of hotel sites to find the best deal or to find that? So I don't know the answer to that, but I would say that in that, you know, part of the deal would be like wherever, if you will searched a hotel and you clicked on one of the options and that came from the direct Marriott site, then the Marriott would own that guest. But if you clicked on an Expedia link that brought you like 3 different options, then Expedia would own the guest. And I think it's going to come down to like, how do you track that? I mean, obviously there's all like the data, and then I think it'll become a war between the hotel brands and the OTAs of like, how do you get your search first? And that I think is what people are afraid of, is that will just be whoever can pay the most will get those clicks.
I was gonna say the winner of that war is going to be the browser. It's Google. That's who wins that war, because at the end of the day, everyone's going to use their land to do it. So
until AI owns the customer, but they already own us all.
Yeah.
So we're doomed.
We're screwed.
Such an uplifting take.
Let's end on that. We're all doomed anyway. We're going to take over.
I know some people that are purposely nice to ChatGPT so that when they takes over, they'll be like, "See, remember I said please and thank you."
You guys like thank you?
Not anymore. Not when Sam Altman said it cost him $1 million to run every time.
I don't care what it costs them.
I don't care either, but I was like, I don't need to say it. Great. I also heard that if you talk mean to your ChatGPT or AI, like it actually gets more accurate. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I talk nice and I talk mean, depending on like
negative reinforcement.
Well, listen. So I have ChatGPT. Shocker, right? Our GMH show notes. Sorry, guys, and it helps a lot. And I was like, all right, here's the articles for GMH today. I've done this a lot. And today it gave me like bullet points and did it all opposite of how I like it. And I was like, you dumb, stupid AI. You don't know what you're doing. You've done this before. You did it wrong this time. Why can't you get it right? And then it got it right. So I don't know. Who knows? Sometimes maybe we all just need a little.
Is that how you're taking out your aggression, is just yelling at ChatGPT?
I have no one else to yell at. It's just me and chat. Just me and chat.
It does seem healthier than yelling at a human, though. So
that's fair. Well, I think really what this gets to is that we're like this conversation around, I mean, the OTAs versus hotels, and then plus how AI is going to factor in, and all like there are so many layers and nuances and complications and scenarios that we can't even possibly comprehend yet. So, sure. I mean, on the one side, it is like a little daunting and like, you know, the unknown is always uncomfortable, but on the other side, it's going to give us so much content.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. My peanut brain can't comprehend how brands versus OTAs compete for AI search preference. So we'll just sit back and watch. You know, we'll be here to tell you what we hear, but we're not going to be predicting futures.
Yeah.
That's not.
Plug to Skip. Go watch the video, read the article. It's way more educational than what we just did on the show. So
this is an entertainment podcast.
We're just a couple of goofballs just being a little goofy today on a Monday morning. So I'm digging it. I'm digging the vibes. But we have hit our mark on the time for our live listeners. Thank you guys for tuning in. For our post live listeners, thanks for subscribing, I guess. Please subscribe if you haven't. And for you two, any highlights that you're looking forward to this week, or same old?
Honestly, I have to say same old. So
I think that's our new shirt. That's our next shirt, is same old.
Yeah, that's the merch. I'm still waiting on my Brandy Rant shirt.
I just
There were
suck at merch.
promises made.
Hey, look, can I also, but I will say this hoodie that I'm wearing, this kind of goes to the point I was trying to make way in the beginning when I said I donated like 4 bins of clothes. I found my first ever Slick Talk hoodie that I made 7 years ago.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's some vintage swag.
Some vintage swag. So I decided to get decked out this morning with a Good Morning hat, a little Slick Talk hoodie. And
Live
then,
the brand. Live
of course.
the brand.
With our Well and Good Morning coffee, brought to you by Well and Good. So, we're just out here slinging our brand.
No big deal, but I get to see Wix tomorrow, so kind of excited about that.
What's up, Jonathan Wicks, we love and miss you. If you are a short-term rental operator, a hotel owner, you can get Well and Good Morning coffee in your hotel with them, or you just get your place cleaned with Well and Good Properties or Professional Services. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. The coffee is hitting. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the episode this week. We love you. We missed you, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.